This is awesome. So, hi, everybody.
Morning.
Welcome this morning. I'm going to turn back on the public comments for whomever is here. So glad you're with us again. We're doing an experiment. Carla was just talking. So I'm on Facebook Live doing this, but Carla joined on YouTube. So kind of weird. We're going to see what happens. But as always, whoever's missing this is going on to my Safety Mom Facebook Live. And then I'll move it over to my YouTube channel. And what I want to make sure you guys know, and I will put the group on, if you like what I'm doing, if you feel like you're in midlife, whatever that means to people, join my Facebook group where we can talk about this, which is, my midlife tribe, fabulous, fierce females, because that's what we all are. And then I'm going to post my link to my YouTube channel so everybody knows what it actually is, because I found out there's another one out there and it's not me. So I want to make sure you get to the right one.
It's some man.
It's some guy. Which is really weird, but okay, like whatever. So yeah, good morning. How the heck are you?
There you go. I see all that.
There you go. Posted. Cool. It went
so
twice.
I'm good.
Hey, Barb. Good. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, Barb. And the first thing we want to start with is talking about Allison, hold up your arm.
I'm going to even move away from the camera. So there's my arm. Barb, I haven't even sent you these pictures. And then here is my chin. And that's already with makeup.
Wow. Does it hurt?
Funny enough, it doesn't. That's what's really weird. It's just achy, a dull achy.
Yeah. So tell us what happened.
Oh my God. So I was walking Duncan with my girlfriend and her dog, and we were really having a serious, deep conversation. And unfortunately, like I was paying attention to her, I wasn't looking at him, and he saw a chipmunk and he bolted, and he's strong. He's a strong dog. He did what dogs do. Now, from what my friend tells me, I didn't let go of the leash.
That's the key. You got to let go of the leash. You got to let go.
And apparently I did. Like, I truly thought I did. And literally it was one of those where I was flying through the air. I face planted on the sidewalk, not the sidewalk, the road.
Yikes.
And what must have happened, so I had him in this hand, I must have tried to brace with this elbow. So I've got a fracture in my wrist, a fracture in my elbow.
Ow, that hurts.
Yeah. And it really was just a dull ache. But the doctor said he's just a little bit more worried about the elbow, because the elbow could be more problematic than you think. So I have to go back tomorrow to the elbow specialist.
Oh, excuse us. So it's an elbow. So where did you go?
Well, that was the other thing that was funny. I was calling places around, and clearly you can't just walk into some place now with COVID. You have to have an appointment. And some guy's like, you're the second person that's called with a dog injury. Like, somebody else called and the same thing happened with the shoulder. And then when I got to the place in New Canaan, they're like, yeah, the same thing happened. So it's chipmunk season, and they go after chipmunks, and we're all walking our dogs more. So yeah, the thing that's the problem though, and fortunately it's only a half cast, like it only goes halfway around my arm, so I can take it off and get in the shower shower. But I can't put in my contacts because my hand doesn't reach, and I can't put in mascara because my hand doesn't reach.
Are you a lefty?
Well, to get in one contact, yes, I do both sides. Oh. I write with my left. I do everything else with sports with my right, and I cocktail waitress with my right. So I am fully ambidextrous.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. But what I realized was so weird, funny, and a couple things, and you and I believe in the universe giving you signs. So first of all, we were talking about this last week, right? Caring for the caregiver. Like, how ironic that now I'm in this situation. And so it made me reassess a lot of things, but it also made me realize that we were talking about how vulnerability, like you feel vulnerable when you're the caregiver and become the caregivee. That's not my problem. And I know, and Barb's going to laugh at this. Well, when you become the person receiving the care, you kind of feel vulnerable because you need care, right? That's not my problem. And I was blown away this morning when I realized my problem. I actually believe, because I'm such a workaholic, and I'm going to talk about a book I'm reading. My thing is working, right? That's my thing. I work, I do. And when I'm not working and doing, and when I see people around me working and doing, I feel like I'm being judged. I feel like people are saying, wow, she's not pulling her weight, or wow, she's being really lazy. Now, I know this is crazy. Like, I
Like
know
the opposite of you.
I know, but this is how I feel. I feel like I'm being lazy. And I realize that even with my colleagues at First Candle, if I'm not working 24/7, I'm thinking, oh my God, they must think I'm slacking off. I'm being a slacker. And
That
Stephanie,
is
my
just
partner,
so weird,
I
Allison.
know.
It's like, talk about a disconnect between who you really are, who people perceive you, and what you think they perceive you as.
Right.
All right, so let me just right now, right this second, I'm going to do hypnotism. And Kathy just came on. Good morning, Kathy. Right now, I am going to do a little instantaneous hypnosis on you. Are you ready? Just
Okay.
you, Allison. Close your
All
eyes.
right.
Take
Okay.
a deep breath. Allison, you are one of the most accomplished, hardworking, caring, industrious, almost to a fault, workaholic we all know. You are now given permission to just be you. You're loved, you're good, you're very accomplished. You do more than most people. You always pull your weight. And when you open your eyes, you're going to see the world from those lenses because you deserve it. Okay.
See, that almost brings me to tears. And
I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, it brings me to tears. And I think so, I'm all about sharing, and I am not perfect.
No.
And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think that we're going to have, I think May is going to have, or June, oh God, we're in May, is going to have to be about a complex,
It's going to be about what?
imposter complex. What
That's
that
a good
is?
one. Oh, you want to talk about imposter complexes, right? Good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And I think that when we've been in emotionally and verbally abusive relationships, whether it's a lover or just a friend, that we've allowed that, we buy it, we believe it. And it's really hard to get out of it. And I think that
But
we
not
could,
impossible.
right, not
Not
impossible.
impossible.
But that's my thing. My thing has been a lot of, why am I doing coaching? Who wants to hear from me? And despite the fact that everybody who's gone through my coaching program is like, you've changed me so much, and oh my God, you need to just focus on coaching. And I'm like, really? So I'm working to get out of that. So again, check out what I'm doing, because I'm going to be offering more programs about stuff. But I think we should really talk about
Because
this.
you're so productive. More programs. All right. I have this wonderful poem for you by the great feminist and female author, Mary Oliver. Have you ever heard of Mary Oliver?
I am not. And so
She's
I'm going to
wonderful.
single finger type in here her name and everything. So
And the name of this poem is Wild Geese.
Mary Oliver.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mary Oliver. I love this poem. Are you ready? This is
I
for
am.
all of us people who really feel that we need to do more than we need to do. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clear clean blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things.
I love that.
Isn't that beautiful?
It,
And
it really is.
it makes me say to myself, what is it about being a woman, just a woman, not all the other things that we are, makes us feel that we always have to do more. You always have to do that last thing. Got to
Yep.
always make sure the bed is made. Got to make sure there's no dishes in the sink when you go to bed. Or maybe I'm just speaking for me, but I do think that this is something that women feel they need to do. They need to always go above and beyond to make sure everything is good and
It's the
okay.
Wonder Woman complex.
Yes.
And you guys who's on with us, Barb and Jody and Kathy and everybody, like, do you feel that way as well? Like, do you feel like you have to do more? I'm really curious, and my messages are coming up more slowly. Maybe you can see them, Carla, but
I can see him.
yeah, it's interesting. And we were going to talk about. I know we were going to talk about rediscovering you, and we're going to do that. But I think this whole idea of being more and doing more is totally leaving us anxious and anxiety ridden, and even more so now. It's crazy.
Right. Right. And if it wasn't, um, if we didn't feel an obligation before, now it's even more so because there's so much stress. And I know that for me, and I think for you, whenever you feel that things are out of whack, that's when you start pedaling even harder.
Yeah, like Barb, thank you. Even through chemo, I want to pull my own weight. Exactly. Exactly. Like, what the fuck is wrong with us, right? Like, it's crazy. My friend Karen was like, you have an injury? Like, Friday night, I'm like cleaning the dishes off the table. And she's like, what are you doing? You know? But I think, and I'm going to say something that might be a little unpopular.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
Here we go.
It's wonderful what everybody is doing out there right now for our graduates, for nurses and doctors, and we're all giving, giving, giving. But I think there's getting to be a little bit of a social media charity one-upmanship of,
Oh,
well,
totally.
yeah. And I think that's making people anxious. Like, so in our town, we are now adopting seniors, right? And you bring something to a senior once a week, a little something. Well, two people adopted Kelsey. So she's getting two,
Oh,
which is,
that kind of a senior. I thought you were a senior citizen.
yeah, no, graduating
High school
senior, which is
senior.
the only thing on my mind right now. But, and I was like, oh my God, that's really nice. But I'm like, I can't adopt two seniors. I can only adopt one, because the thought of having to go out and think of things and build things, like, I can't. And then there's another person in town. She's rocking it, man. Like, she has organized all of these people to do everything. And I'm like, I can't do that. But I think there's this anxiety in us now of, are we doing enough to volunteer? You know?
I think that it comes from a place of love and caring, but then it takes over.
Yeah.
It gets its own life, and then you feel obliged, or you feel you need to compete, or you have to keep up, and
Yeah.
that's not healthy.
Right. Which is the other thing we're going to talk about, is those someday, not today, those personal boundaries, and putting up those boundaries and saying, no, I'm not going to do this. And I wish I could help you right now. I can't help you this way, but maybe I can help you this way. But putting those boundaries up.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the subject of anxiety, which of course is a huge subject, and neither you or me, or we're not psychologists.
No.
So we don't have all the answers. But there are some things that you can do to help a friend with anxiety. And I think that that's important. I do notice that as a minister, I do things like funerals or memorial services, and I walk with people through their hard times when tragedy strikes. And um, I think I can honestly say, in the most nicest way I can say it, people sometimes say the dumbest things to people who are having real tragedies and anxious moments. And I also know that they don't mean to. They just don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. It taps them into their own stuff, and that blocks their ability to be with the other person fully. So Alice and I were talking about 9 ways to help that. So here's the first one, and I think it's probably the most important thing. Listen deeply and compassionately without thinking about, okay, what am I going to say next? And
Right.
what is really going on here? And what am I going to make for dinner? Just be there and listen deeply and compassionately and with your whole body, and try. It's hard. It's very hard because stuff just bubbles up, but try very hard not to say things like, you're going to be okay. You'll get through this.
Yeah.
And I know that in your first candle hat that you come up with this a lot. But I'd love to hear about that.
Well, it's not only in my first candle hat, and First Candle is the nonprofit that deals with SIDS, and my first son died of SIDS, and yeah, it's very interesting. There's a couple things that come up. One is the most ridiculous thing. On the anniversary of his death, we would have family members, not just friends, but family members who wouldn't call us, wouldn't say anything to us. And they actually said, well, we didn't want to bring it up and remind you. And I'm like,
And that was their caring response, but not the right one.
right. Like, and I can say honestly, as a SIDS parent, we always want to think people remember our child. The worst thing could be is to be forgotten. So, to talk about a loved one who's passed away, to say, tell me about Connor, or I'm thinking about you today. I know Connor, it's Connor's angelversary. That's awesome. But people are, you're right, like they don't know what to say. And then we end up, the person who should be grieving, consoling them, which is like ludicrous.
Yeah.
But we have to, right?
Yeah.
It's also like
But
those
you know
people.
what? Well, I got to interrupt you there. That's on you.
Yeah.
That's on you. You don't really have to.
No,
You
you
don't
don't.
really, but you feel in that awkward moment or in that very, very sad moment. And maybe it's kind of your own way of taking care of yourself as well, because you know the person has said the wrong thing. So now you have to say the right thing.
Right. Well, and I think it's also like we talked about, nobody in this country knows how to grieve, right? It's let's just push it under the rug and let's pretend it's all okay. And it's not always all okay. When you have an incurable disease like MS, I so am grateful when people say, "Hey, has Greg tried this? Has Greg tried that?" Yeah, we know about it. We do know about it. Thank you, thank you.
I
But
like
we
the
know
way
it.
you said that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
But
we've been there. We've
yeah,
done this
we've been
already.
there. But like it's okay to say to us, that must really suck. You know? It is what it is,
You know,
you know?
I think you could write a book of things to say. I really do. I think you could write Allison's book of things to say and not say. I think would be really instructive and helpful. I
In a
really do.
lot of situations, divorce, everything. People say the
Yeah.
stupidest things.
Yeah. And they don't mean to. They
They don't.
really don't mean to.
Well, and here's the other thing, and you just nailed it. People, when they're in a situation where they're speaking to someone who, whatever the situation, death or a terminal illness or whatever, are so intent on thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say? That they're not listening to the person.
Yeah.
And you don't have to say anything.
Yeah.
Just sit there. But silence is an awkward thing too.
Well, that's another thing. Here's another one. Here's these two go together. Don't try to fix them, and let the anxiety be? Now, we could argue that your relatives that don't call at your son's, what do you call it, angelversary?
Oh, yes, it's the angelversary.
Maybe they're thinking that they should just leave you be, but you don't want that.
No, no. You want to
So they
think
should be
that,
asking you what you do need. What
well,
can I do?
and it's not even anything except just saying, "Hey, I'm thinking of you. Hey, checking in." Because there's really nothing to do.
Right. There's nothing to do.
You can't fix death.
No.
I mean, that's the reality. So all you can do is say, "Hey, I'm sure today's a little difficult just thinking about it." And I have a friend, and Barb, I think you're going to know who I'm speaking about, who's a very lovely, caring friend, but she never knows what to say. And I think it's her own challenge. So she'll either not say anything or she'll say something that seems like it's insensitive. And so, occasionally she will say, "Hey, I don't know how you go through this," but she'll text it. She could never say it verbally because that would be like so personal.
Huh.
And I think that's tough.
Now, Barb said, and I love this, she said, oh my God, same here. People have actually said to me, are you getting a second opinion about your cancer? Or are you trying alternative and holistic treatments? And then she says, ugh. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Doctor, so and so. It's true.
Yeah.
Because people, and this is another whole thing I think we can get into, men especially, men don't know what the hell to do if they can't fix something.
I know that's true for John, my husband. That's true.
Greg too.
It
Yeah.
makes him very uncomfortable if he can't fix it. Although I did have a crying jag about 3 weeks ago, and I don't cry. I mean, I'm not a crier. It's just not in my stack. I'm a grumbler. I'm a secluder, but I don't spend a lot of time crying. It's just not my style. And about maybe 4 weeks ago, this whole seclusion and COVID just hit me like a ton of bricks. I just felt, oh, and I wasn't working. I got a new job, so I'm so happy. I wasn't working, and I wasn't. So I felt like I wasn't part of this of society, of what was going on, and it made me feel really sad. And so I just cried and cried. And John, God bless him, I think it was the first time he had done this. He didn't try to fix it. He sat on the bed with me and he just listened. He just listened and he just let me cry. He was very surprised because I don't cry a lot, but it was the most, and maybe you can relate to this, it was the most cathartic, helpful thing I have done in a long, long time. And that pressure that you get behind your eyes when you're just so sad and you're depressed, and the pressure just came out and I felt washed. It was like, let me cry, just let me, so that's
I don't have that, I don't cry a lot. I really don't. And when I cry by myself, but I do verbalize.
Aha.
I definitely verbalize. And that's a whole other thing. And that's my new class that's going to be coming out, or my new program on Safety Mom, is the importance of journaling. Writing out my feelings, that's what gets it out of me.
Yes, and I love writing too. And you're a very good writer, by the way. You're a very good writer. You're a good speaker, but you're also a very good writer. You're very thoughtful. You wrote a really thoughtful blog yesterday, and I appreciated it. Tell people where to get your blog, read your blog.
Yeah, and you can go on. And Abby just said she started reading the book that's on my site. Which book, Abby? There's so many. We have a couple that I reference, and that's another thing we'll talk about, because we're not even going to get to that today. But I just started reading an amazing book, and I'm going to put the link to it. It's called The Beautiful No. I'm going to put the link right now.
I've heard of this book.
Oh my God! So I think I'm gonna actually at some point, because you know me, I can't not do things. It's The Beautiful No by Sherry Sala.
Yep.
And I gotta warn you about this book. So she was the executive producer at the Oprah Winfrey Show. She was the executive producer at the OWN channel, and she walked away from it. Now, I'm warning you, the first 5 pages, I almost put the book down because she's like, yeah, so I decided to leave my job and I decided to just like hang out in my beautiful mansion in LA and like all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, you're not getting it. But then the second chapter starts where she admits she's 100 pounds overweight. She doesn't have a relationship in her life and she's got all this stuff going on.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is a really cool book. And now I can't put it down.
Kathy,
So
I was with Kathy last night, and we had a little virtual birthday celebration because it was my birthday.
I
And
know,
my
happy birthday, I
well, thank
forgot.
you. And my daughter and son-in-law, Kathy's son, arranged this really fun game party virtually online. And I'm not saying this to one up anybody or brag, but it really was fun. And Kathy said, I need a good book. So there you go, Kathy. There's a good book for you. The Beautiful No. How do you spell Sherry what?
Sherry Sala. It's Sheri. I'll put it in here as well as I put the link up, but it's Sherry Sala.
Great.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to just make sure. I actually had to write notes on my phone because it's the only way. Sherry Salata. So I'll put that up there. And the link on there will go right to Amazon to the book too. And the other thing, my wonderful business partner, who I couldn't live without Stephanie. So Stephanie is my business partner in all that I do. I create and she produces. So we are on the site going to have resources of amazing books from Wayne Dyer, everybody that's helped me, but then also products that help us.
Great.
And it's products for us like vitamin C cream and essential oils that I love now that I'm using and just a lot of stuff. So
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just to I think to close out this part with the anxiety, this segment, one of the or two things that are actually, excuse me, three things that are important to remember. Anxiety and stress does look different on everybody, on different people. There's no one symptom. You know, like I was talking before, that I'm not a crier and you go off and cry by yourself. Anxiety and dealing with stress looks different on different people. So you really need to be with that individual to understand what it is that they're going through and be aware of how you're impacting them. Like be on time for them, be attentive to them, be, really be there for them if you can.
Keep going. You got a couple more.
I think that's it. Oh, I know.
No.
Very
Yeah.
important, really, really important
Yeah.
is while you're trying to do this and be, mother of the universe, you got to hold your own boundaries. You got to really define where your limits are. Like, what time do you want to stop answering the telephone? How many texts a day can you really effectively respond to? Because nobody needs you not to be effective or caring. If it's too much, respect that. If you feel tired, take a nap, go meditate, get off your electronics and just be you, because we all have boundaries.
And you know what? And also understand this. And listen to me, Barb. This is not about you, so don't even think it's about you. Several years ago, I have a friend who went through a divorce. She was a very good friend of mine, but she sucked the life out of me, literally. Like it was text after text and call after call.
I know.
And I mean, as a minister, Carla, I want to do a whole thing with you about how you manage your boundaries, because I can imagine as a psychologist or something, like it's bad, but it sucked the life out of me and I could feel myself coming down from it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to stop. I have to stop.
Let me give you a really good, simple tip. This is for anybody who is not a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a professional like that. As ministers, we are champion referrers. So if you are dealing with somebody who is in a high stress situation or a tragedy, my rule of thumb, and I learned this, so it's not, I didn't make it up, 3 times. You meet with them 3 times and you go into depth. If after 3 times there's really no resolution, they need more help.
Interesting.
That's a boundary. That's a simple boundary. If after 3 in-depth conversations, you can't really see the forest from the trees and it's not, don't allow somebody to suck the life out of you, A, and B, who are we to think that we are going to fix everybody? You know, that's just hubris. So 3 times, and then I will refer to a psychologist or a psychiatrist or somebody who's a professional who really knows how to deal with it better.
That's really smart, and that's probably what's made you as good as you are.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh my God. All right. Well, thank you again, ladies. And hey, if you're liking this, first of all, go to my Facebook group. I mean, it's anybody. Midlife is defined more like, who you are and how you feel. But go to my Facebook group. You can join, and I will put the link in here. Subscribe to my Facebook channel, which is my YouTube channel, which is Allison Jacobson. But yeah, let's just keep, and you know what, also, if you're liking what we're doing, give us some suggestions about what you'd like to talk about, because
That's a great idea.
I'm finding this like a Sunday 9 a.m. coffee girls chat.
Yeah, it's great.
So let us know what you're thinking, and have a good Sunday. Oh, Adair. Hey, Adair. Thank you so much. Well, you can go back and look at it again. Adair is in my meditation groups on Tuesday mornings, which have been awesome as well.
Great.
So talk soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Allison. Love ya.
Love you.